Welcome to a Crop and Create delivered video tutorial from Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. This is designer Lynn Ghahary, and today we are going to create a layout from start to finish using the Crop and Create delivered spring kit. Let's get started. We are going to be using this sketch by Becky Fleck for our layout. You can see it has space for 2 photos. I'm going to be using these photos of my boys. I sized them at 3 by 4 inches, even though the sketch shows them a bit smaller. We're going to be using a piece of charcoal Basil Basics cardstock for our base. I've also cut a piece of My Mind's Eye polka dot paper to just slightly smaller than our base at 11.5 by 11.5 inches square. And I like to use a cardstock base to give a nice border, especially around a lighter piece of patterned paper, like this My Mind's Eye polka dot paper. You can see I'm also adding some pen stitching with my journaling pen. I love to add pen stitching to my layouts, and I especially love to add it at the parts where 2 different papers come together. In this case, by adding it to the border of that polka dot paper, it really helps to define the edge and to bring the viewer's eye inward toward the center of my layout. To give my layout a more boyish look, I chose papers from the kit that had a more masculine feel. You can see here I chose a plaid, the Amy Tangerine yellow house paper, and then that blue pebbles paper. Also, I just wanted to mention I used the Biggs top note die from Stampin' Up! To create this stencil, and that's how I cut the inverted bracket pattern on the bottom of 2 of my paper strips. I also am using a We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper to round the edges of my paper strips. Now I'm just getting ready to place down these paper strips. I'm going to have the papers skewed slightly to the left edge of my layout. And that's because later on I'll be adding my title and my journaling on the right edge of my layout, and everything will balance that way. So for now, these paper strips are going to look like they are slightly skewed over to the left edge. I'm a big stickler for straight lines, so you'll see I use my ruler all the time when I'm placing down my papers, because I just want to make sure that I get everything in place so that I don't have to move them around later on. And once I get this paper down, I'm just going to take a quick peek to see if I like the placement and where my photos will lie. And then we're going to move on to create our journaling tag using one of the stamps that came in the kit. To create my journaling tag, I'm going to be using this Spellbinders die from Becky Fleck's Office Supplies collection. We're also going to be using the Top 10 stamp that comes in the stamps included in the kit, as well as some basic gray Stampin' Up! Ink. I like to use gray a lot of times instead of black because I feel it's just not as jarring on light colored paper as black can be. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp, and I just want to make sure I get all of the lines well inked. And it's a little tricky because I chose to use striped paper, so I want to try to make sure that my lines are straight and coincide with the lines on the striped paper. You can see that this stamp fits perfectly in this Becky Fleck die that I used. When we were creating this stamp set, we made sure that it would fit right in this notebook die, so that you have a very easy way to include this stamp on your layouts and your cards. And here's a quick look at the finished journaling tag. And now we're going to go ahead and place that on our layout. I just want to adhere down my photos first, now that I know that I like the placement of them. I'm also going to add one of the bonus strips that you can find at the bottom of many American Crafts papers. This one is from the Dear Lizzie floral paper that's included in the kit, but it's a great turquoise color and matches perfectly with the turquoise that's in that Pebbles plaid paper. And I'm going to place it right below my photos and across the middle of my layout. And now that my border is adhered, I'm going to bring in the journaling tag that we created. You can see that I've printed directly on the journaling tag using my computer and my printer. I was going to use one of the stamps from the kit that said a perfect day, but then I thought I would add a banner above my journaling and use the letter stickers from the Fancy Pants sticker sheet to spell out my title instead. That way it stands out a little bit more and has a little bit more presence on my layout. When I'm placing my title, because I want my title centered on this banner strip, I actually counted the letters in my title, A Perfect Day, found my center point, and you can see that I placed that letter down in the middle, and that was the E in perfect. And now I'm working out to the right, and I'll also work out to the left then. This is just an easy tip. This is a way that I make sure that my titles are centered. And it works only if the letter stickers that you're using are the same size. Obviously, these are all the same size because they're all placed in circles. Now that I have my title complete, I'm going to adhere my journaling tag to my layout. I'm using my ruler to measure in. I'm going to place it 3/4 of an inch in from the right edge of that My Mind's Eye paper. That is the same distance that I used when I placed that plaid paper. That way it has a more symmetrical feel to it. I'm also going to use some dimensional adhesive to adhere my banner to my layout. Again, I just wanted to make my title stand out a bit more, so I thought the dimensional adhesive was a great way to do that. If we take a quick look at the sketch, you can see there's a large cluster of embellishments up in that left-hand corner there. So that's what we're going to work on next. I'm going to be using the We Are Memory Keepers die-cut title. It's actually a two-part title, so I popped out the inner portion. I'm only going to use the top portion of this green frame, and I'm going to slip it behind my photo. The bracket shape on this title corresponds well with the bracket shape that I cut into my patterns papers. And you can see when I'm placing it, there's going to be a little bit of space showing. So I'm going to use this great green polka dot washi tape from Queen & Company, and I'm just going to use that to cover that space. And I really like the green on green of the washi tape with that bracket title from We Are Memory Keepers. I'm also going to place one of the file tab stickers from Fancy Pants. But before I do that, I also want to use one of the Maya Road Birdie metal clips. So I'm just getting an idea of where I might want to place that metal clip so I know where to place my file tab. I'm going to add my son's initials to the file tab. On the sketch it showed a subtitle, so I thought for my subtitle I would add their initials, and I'm just going to use the same letter stickers that I used for my title. And now I'm going to place the birdie clip, and I was trying to get an idea of exactly where I wanted it. I wanted most of the clip to show. I didn't want to tuck it too far behind my photo. So as I was placing it there, I was trying to figure out how I was going to get it to stay on my page. And I thought that I would stitch it there. So I grabbed I have a little piece of foam cushion and my paper piercer, and you can see I'm just piercing holes in an X shape, and I'm going to use crochet thread to hand stitch this little birdie metal clip to my page. Initially, I had wanted to use the green and white Maya Road Baker's twine, but I found that it was too thick for the needle that I had, so I decided to just go with some plain white crochet thread instead. And I'll just tie things off here on the back. And then to keep things secure, I just added a few pieces of washi tape. That way when I slide this into my page protector in my album, the thread won't get caught and pull on anything. Now I'm just going to add a few My Mind's Eye enamel dots. I'm just going to scatter a few of the yellow ones over on the right side and then up here in the left corner as well. And then just for a little bit more detail, I thought I would go back in here and add some more pen stitching with my journaling pen. I find that I like to add pen stitching where I just want a little bit more detail. It's just a fun and easy way to add that detail to my page. And to balance the pen stitching that I added up at the top, I'm just going to add a little bit here at the bottom of my journaling as well. Now, as I was taking a last look at my page, I decided that I needed a pop of green near my title. I had the green up at the top there by the metal birdie pin, so I wanted to add some here at the bottom as well. So I took some washi tape and I'm just going to place it over my title and have it go a little bit onto the photo, just to tie everything together and add that little bit of green on the right side of my layout as well. And here's a look at the completed layout and a few detail photos. For more information about Crop and Create Delivered, please visit www.scrapbookandcards.com or www.scrapbookandcardstodaymag.typepad.com.